I was 18. I witnessed my father sneaking into our young nanny's room late at night. I knew right then he had betrayed my mother, but I didn't wake Mom. Instead, I waited by the door until he came out. I had a calm conversation with him. Either divorce and I'd stay with Mom or fire the nanny. Dad's expression was heavy as he thought it over all night. The next day, he made me a promise. I won't see that nanny again. 3 years later, I learned that Mom had almost miscarried. Under my relentless questioning, Mom finally revealed the truth. I saw your father with that woman with my own eyes. The shock caused the bleeding. Megan, what should I do? I took a deep breath. Half an hour later, I returned to the country with my appointment letter in hand. Since Dad chose to break his word, he couldn't blame me for blacklisting him from the entire industry. When I arrived at the hospital, Mom lay in bed like a puppet, her swollen belly clearly visible beneath the blanket. But my maternal grandmother, Eleanor, showed no consideration for Mom's feelings whatsoever. If you get divorced, there's no room for you at home. Megan still needs to get married. You have to think about your child. I heard Matthew is about to be promoted to vice president with double the salary. You're carrying his son now. If you divorce, won't you just be handing everything to that woman? My maternal grandfather, Harold, was even more blunt. What man doesn't stray? Your nephew is about to buy a house and get married. He's planning to borrow $1 million from Matthew. Just bear with it for now. Despite being Mom's own parents, Eleanor and Harold spoke over each other, trying to smooth things over. On the surface, they claimed to be thinking of Mom, but in reality, they were sacrificing her to support my uncle. Seeing Mom's silent tears, I spoke harshly to Eleanor and Harold for the first time. From now on, Mom has me. Please leave. When Mom saw me enter, she grasped at me like a lifeline and broke into sobs. Eleanor and Harold spat in disgust, called me an ungrateful wretch, and stormed off. Mom couldn't hold back her wailing anymore, as if trying to cry out all her grievances. Your father and that tramp. It wasn't just once or twice. He promised me that if I had a son through IVF, he'd completely cut ties with Susan. That's when I learned the whole story. Dad never fired Susan at all. The moment I left, he brought her back. The first time Mom caught them in the act was in the garage, seeing them together. She made a scene and demanded Dad end it. Dad gave her the silent treatment. When Mom tried to file a complaint against Susan's company, they had a violent argument. Mom had once tried to have an honest conversation with Dad. He vented all the resentment buried in his heart. He blamed Mom for not giving him a son and promised that if she had a son through IVF, he'd break things off with Susan. Mom was furious and wanted a divorce, but her relatives' persuasion made her waver. She was afraid the divorce would affect my career abroad, so she compromised. During my participation in new energy research, I was cut off from all outside contact. Yesterday, she had wanted to reconcile with Dad on their wedding anniversary, but Dad sent her Susan's pregnancy ultrasound. Under the double shock, Mom nearly lost both her life and the babies. I wanted him to send Susan away before you came back. You shouldn't have to know about such dirty things, but he was too cruel. Mom's eyes were filled with shame. I shook my head through my tears and told her about what happened 3 years ago. Mom was shocked, both moved and remorseful. This is my fault for making you bear so much. I comforted her. Don't worry, Mom. I'll handle everything. Dad was in the VIP room upstairs because Susan had stomach pains, scared by what happened with Mom. When he saw me arrive, Dad set down his cake spoon, a flash of embarrassment crossing his face. I confronted him. Dad, what did you promise me? You taught me since childhood to keep my word. A bouquet was thrown at my feet as Dad roared at me. I'm your father. Show some respect. Don't think that just because you got some worthless diploma from a no-name foreign university, you've grown wings. Susan is carrying my child now. You and your mother better behave or you'll both get nothing. He protectively held the pretending to be pitiful Susan in his arms. I just sneered. Who cared about his pocket change? The money in my account could literally bury this pair of cheating scum if I withdrew it all. But seeing Susan's slightly protruding belly, my anger deflated like a punctured balloon. I spoke calmly. I will pursue your marital infidelity to the end. Just wait to leave with nothing. Dad thought I was just making empty threats. Without hesitation, he raised his hand. Just as he was about to strike, I dodged. It seemed Dad wasn't even pretending anymore. Good. That meant I didn't need to hold back either. 3 years ago, I had submitted an application to use my achievements to exchange for an opportunity to join Dad's company, to help Dad fulfill his lifelong dream. I never expected that his promotion would give him the confidence to abandon his wife and daughter. Dad didn't know that I was his new boss. The higher Dad climbed now, the harder I'd make him fall.